Welcome to the first episode of Common Conscience. And you know what? I know y'all been waiting for this for a long time. You know, I don't know about you, Dre, but it's been mad people that have been telling me, look, we need to hear from y'all. Even when we teased a little bit about going live, people were hitting me on the messenger and in my inbox and my text inbox talking about, man, I can't wait to hear what y'all got to say. We weren't able to make it happen, but lo and behold, here we are. So what you got to say to the people, man? First episode 1, Common Conscience.
Man, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing more than it always is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just you know what I'm saying? I just be talking my little shit, man. You know, so
right.
I'm like, fuck it. Let's do it different. You know what I'm saying? Let's hop on here. You know what I'm saying? Bounce some ideas back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And let people see what that look like. You know what I'm saying? Live and in color. You know what I'm saying? That's the vibe it's supposed to be. That's all. You know.
For sure. And one thing we can promise y'all, if you're watching this on the Tube or Facebook or wherever you're watching this, one thing you can get from us is no punches pulled, no holds barred, really respectful. And, you know, we're not going to agree on everything, but, you know, the conversation is going to be one of eloquence. It's going to be one of respect. It's going to be one of dignity. It's going to be one of, look, man, we just people trying to figure it out. That's really all it is. And, you know, when you consider what everyone on earth is doing, it's just people trying to figure it out, bro. Nobody got it all figured out. And we'll probably get to this in every episode to some degree. But, you know, a lot of the problem with the world is the people who think they got it figured out and can't hear nothing else. So what we're here to do now is just bring you a little bit of common conscience, man. So that's what you can expect out of us. Weekly video blog. And you know what's going on right now is really kind of a changing of the times, man. One thing the pandemic taught us is that technology is versatile. Zoom is kind of taking over everything. Microsoft Teams, you know, all these video conference softwares are showing you that even on like big giant network broadcasts like First Take or, you know, Skipping Shannon, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Oh man, fuck Skip.
Yeah, right. You know, we love Skip. Skip's an OU Cowboys fan. You know, we OU Dallas Cowboys.
You ain't. I see. I gotta tell you what your man's. I gotta holler at you about your man's. Skip's bugging.
We'll talk about him. He be bugging though. He's a troll.
Nah, Skip bugging. We gonna talk about it.
Yep. So, man, we decided we're gonna do it a little different, man. We got the Zoom up. What we're gonna do. I don't know if y'all know this, but Dre down in Houston, America.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm steady. Right, H-Town, where it goes down, slow, loud, and banging, screwed and chop. DJ Screw, OG Run C. You know he had
you ain't know. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? When you from Lawton, you know what I'm saying? If you escape and you either move to Dallas or you move to Houston, you know what I'm saying? And then you made it. You know what I'm saying? It's like winning a game of life.
Facts. Right. So, yeah, he's down there. I'm holding steady, rocking steady in Lawton, America, born and raised. And we decided wasn't no distance going to keep us from doing this for y'all. So we figured it out. And here we are, Common Conscious, man. So it's on you, man. Mike's on you. What you got to say? What's on your mind? Let's talk about it, man. I know you got something going on in that brain of yours.
I mean, I know we had a way we wanted to lead it off, but I actually think we could push that back and kind of end a little bit on it. You know what I'm saying? You gave me a good little segue onto it. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to pull your mind, see how you feel about this. You know what I'm saying? So, Dak Prescott, you seen he came out and was saying that some shit like he's dealing with like real bad anxiety over the point of the season, like his brother died, and just like essentially he's like coming forth like disclosing just like the things he's been dealing with, you know what I'm saying, as far as his mental health or whatever. They're talking about it on Undisputed, and Skip jumps on there and he's like I wish I should have pulled the quote up so I could just quote it, but my man's essentially like, I don't care about that. Those are excuses, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just like kind of goes wild and disregards like all of that. Like it's like as if football is the only thing. And it's just like, as I'm watching it, or as I'm seeing it, I'm just like, at what point does it stop being like cool to minimize these people like they not humans? You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like the feeling of it was, regardless of what he's going through, You know what I'm saying? He better come out there and win games for the Cowboys. I'm not, you know how Skip likes to be. I'm not listening to this as some premeditated excuse to not go out there and produce. My man's talking about his brother dying and shit like that, and you talking about football. Like, I don't know.
Man, it's the capitalist way, man. I mean, listen, this could be a conversation for another time. I won't delve too deep into it right now because it really is probably an episode on its own. But man, these players ain't nothing to these owners. These players ain't nothing to these fans. These players ain't nothing to nobody involved in the business, whether it be GMs, ownership, fans, media. They're nothing to these people except a paycheck. I mean, let's take American sports, American football. Let's just do one thing at a time. Let's take American football off the table. Let's cancel it completely. How many people lose their jobs? How many people lose their homes? How many people lose their stocks? How many people lose their life savings? How many people lose everything just because American football is off the table? You know how much money American football makes every season? You know what's wild is that us as consumers, we see these contracts, this news about these contracts come out. You know, you're like, Pat Mahomes got, whatever he got, 5 years, 550 million, whatever he got. You know, players get 4 years, $400 million. You know, you're looking at however million, obviously not $100 million a year, but you know what I'm saying. Like, us as consumers, we look at those contracts and we're like, man, that is way too much money. You know, they're getting paid way too much money to play sports. It's just ridiculous. It's just, they're going out and having fun. I got a few responses to that. First of all, you have no idea what it's like to be a professional athlete. You know, a lot of these players don't even like their jobs anymore. They've been doing it since they were 4. Their parents were too hard on them to make it work. You know, by the time they realized they were too tired of it, they were too invested by that point. It was the one thing that they were really, really good at. They decided to make it work. Obviously, they're not miserable people, but, you know, if you really read books by these former players, you realize that for the most part, they fell out of love with it mad long ago. Yeah, it's just part of their lives. So that's my first response is you have no idea what it's like to keep your body and your mind in the state of being a professional athlete. It ain't easy work. My second thing is this. Yeah, that is a ton of money. It's a ton of money to people like us, commoners who, you know, have been in the gutter, work paycheck to paycheck, seem to be doing all right now, and it's the most money we ever made, but we ain't never seen no $400 million. Yeah, so, but think about this. Just like any business, right? If I'm in a company right now and I'm making 6 figures, I'm making $100,000, $120,000 a year, more money than I've ever seen, more money than I need probably. How much money is my boss making? How much money is his boss making? How much money is the owner of the company making to be able to pay me, just a single employee, that much? Think about what these football team owners are making. You think Jerry Jones is tripping on Dak Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott's contract? Not at all.
Like, you're right. And I guess kind of one of the things that I be thinking about, right, is that, so it kind of lends itself like to what you were saying earlier, like in the beginning, like Skip, he problematic, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, he Cowboys, Sooners, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like a blip of representation, you know what I'm saying, for these teams, right?
Which they're usually the same people anyway. Sooners fans and Cowboys fans, usually.
Mad facts. But I'm kind of like, at some point, it's like, when do we be like, but fuck Skip though? You know what I'm saying? Like, because Skip got a history of problematic behavior, and like, to kind of bring it full circle to what we intended on talking about to begin with, it's like, it feeds into that culture where, like you said, these players don't have the same value that, you know what I'm saying, other people have. You know what I'm saying? That it's almost like, you know, it's like people, it's like, you know, it's Black Lives Matter all day, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's this big plight to like show that like Black lives intrinsically have worth, right? But it seems almost like if you Black and you've been given any kind of wealth, any kind of entitlement whatsoever, that like, in a weird way, it's almost like your life matters even less, because it's like, you get told, what the fuck are you complaining about? You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of being that still in these, and it's crazy that it comes from where it does, because it's like it comes from the same people, the same class who has all this money, they have all this power, and it's like, you know that y'all motherfuckers ain't happy. You know that y'all have anxiety. You have depression. Like, y'all have therapists. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you understand that, like, money doesn't cure, like, those kind of ills. But then when you see it come from that side, from those players, you know what I'm saying? Like, I may be wrong about this, but I feel like before Skip even goes in, he, like, segues it with, I've dealt with depression on my own. But, dot, 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 dot. As if to say that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It goes beyond a point where it's just, you know, in spite of the things that we go through, we've got to get up and go to work every day. Because, I mean, that's the real. Like, whether it should be or not is a separate question. But as of now, it is. But to kind of put it like, there's no human worth there. There's no real value there. That to me is what creates like that same environment. It's like these little small things that like all build up to like create this one toxic ecosystem where you get, you know what I'm saying, players on the first game of the night unite for racial unity. And bro, listen, like before we even really get into what happens next, it's the most benign, like pussyfoot around saying that we actually support black people, even though our league is 85% black or whatever. Like, it's the gentlest of gestures towards some kind of real, you know what I'm saying, like show of solidarity. Like, it's just a moment of silence for racial inequality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the easy and honestly, bro, I think
it's the easiest thing to get behind if you're truly not racist.
And I think that the NFL PR, I feel like that was their thought process. Like, they were like, what can we do that they won't make us look bad? What can we say that people are like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I can give them that, right?
Yeah. And the fans still found a way to mess it up.
Bro, resounding boos.
Well, I think one of the things that happened, and I want to touch on the point I was making before is, you know, they're about the contracts and the money is, you know, you got these giant companies that are throwing this money at these players for the age-old saying, shut up and dribble, right? Yeah. Shut up and play. That's what they want you to do. They think that this money is good enough, it's big enough that you shouldn't have any problems, so just shut up and play. That's what these fans want. So the other night when the Chiefs and the Texans games happened, the reports were that the Texans didn't take the field during the national anthem or lift every voice and sing the black national anthem. They stayed in the locker room for both. The reports for that, the report stated that the reason for that was that the Texans didn't want to appear to support one over the other, which I understand. And I low-key kind of rock with that decision because they're like, man, we don't want to show our support for one over the other because our message is everybody unified, everybody equal. You know what I mean? Yeah.
We not trying to, I mean, they just wasn't trying to stir the shit no more than it was already going to be.
Exactly. And the other point to that was this wasn't an NFL PR move. This was the report said this was a player-driven decision to do this moment of unity. And you mentioned...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson that decided we're going to stand in the center of the field and we're going to hold arms and we're going to just have a moment of silence as a moment of unity. And you touched on a second ago that we want to stand for... The way you put it was, I think, we want to stand against racial injustice. What makes it more wild about the unsupport of this movement, of this gesture, is it wasn't even that. It was a moment of unity. That's what they called it. That's what they announced over the loudspeakers, was this was a moment of unity. As patriots of the United States of America, how do you boo a moment of unity? See what I'm saying? This wasn't announced as a moment against racial injustice. This wasn't announced as a moment for Black Lives Matter. This was announced and performed and executed as a moment of unity by a team who was out on the field during both anthems, and by a team who didn't want to show favoritism one over the other for the movement of unity.
Yeah, it wasn't even specific. It's light. It could be. It was like ambiguous to where you could make it what you want.
Right.
It's no reason to. I'm not pushing an agenda down your throat. I'm just saying that, like, hey man, wouldn't shit be better if we wasn't beefed out all the time?
Right. And the fans still found a way to boo. I did hear a report that, and this was just by some random person. This wasn't by like a verifiable source, but I heard from, I think it was on Twitter or something, that the report was that the fans booed because the Texans stayed in the locker room, which I guess could be true. I don't know. I think either way, first of all, I don't believe it, just because I don't have the, hold on, I gotta upgrade to Zoom because it's about to cut off on us. I just don't have the faith in people that they would just boo just because it was like, I can't believe you didn't come out for both anthems. I think they were booing because they perceived the movement in the middle of the field as a Black Lives Matter movement, and people were mad about it.
They're like, fuck that.
Yeah, first of all, they weren't listening to what it was. Secondly, like, you're just proving that this isn't about patriotism to you. It's not about feeling offended that someone disrespected the flag. I mean, they didn't do anything during the anthems. They didn't do anything to the flag. They literally came out after both anthems were played and showed that they were together as a unit, which is precisely what this country is about. How do you boo that?
Because, like, okay, so here's the part that gets lost in a lot of this shit, right? So it's like, it's just like, in the kind of big picture of this whole thing, it's like the same way that people who like soft support Trump, you know what I'm saying? They like, it's not, I don't agree with who he is and all those other little bullshits or whatever, right? But they still echo some of those same sentiments. You know what I'm saying? Like, just in a softer way. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may not say, you know what I'm saying, like, the Mexicans coming over the border are murderers and rapists, but they're still like kind of, they'll just say a lighter version of that. They'll be like, well, border security is really just about safety. They're just trying to keep us safe. You know what I'm saying? But like, you still creating this room and this space for a voice that can kind of, my bad. It creates this space where, like, a more extreme voice who's echoing like the hardline version of that has a room to stand in. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, when you take it back to the game, what I kind of mean by that is, so like you said, they say that the boos were actually because the players didn't come out for the anthem, right? Maybe that's true. On some point, maybe a percentage of those boos were because of that. But if you just wanted to boo anything that had any semblance of addressing a racial divide in this country, this is your shot. This is your moment, and then you could jump underneath that umbrella of, oh, well, they didn't come out for the anthem. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's exactly what these guys do. That's what. So it's the same, like these far right groups or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do the same thing with policing. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order to be able to come in and create more chaos in this already chaotic environment, we're going to get way behind this whole idea of like this over militarized police force and this war on policing and all that. Because now, when we're on the side against that movement, then we're with the police, and now we don't really have to worry about the police. You see what I'm saying? Like, and this is like different instances of people doing that same thing, taking something that seems benign to a lot of people and putting their hardline interests right up underneath it. And I don't know. It's just like, that shit is not benign. Like, it's not like these small things. They're not small. Like these little gestures, these little concessions that people make in like the character of a person and like these things, like, they're not small. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you touched on a big point a second ago when you said, if you really cared to understand or cared to find a movement that you could get behind, you would find a way to get behind a moment of unity at a football game. You know, because there weren't any radical movements. This was white and black and brown and yellow and everybody together in a brotherhood of football, standing in a circle or on a line or whatever the case may be. You couldn't see the whole field in one shot. So anyway, they were standing together arm in arm. And, you know, because it wasn't about race in the moment. It was about everybody together. That's precisely what the moment was about. If you truly, objectively, were waiting for a moment where you could support, let's be real, an all lives matter movement, that was it.
I was just about to say, it's the most all lives matter of protest that they could have offered.
Right. And this was an all lives matter protest that Black Lives Matter could have supported. Everybody could have supported it. If you were waiting for a more all lives actually matter moment, that was it. And you chose to boo it.
But see, that kind of brings me to another point, is that it's just crazy to me that the people who hit you with that all lives matter bullshit don't really believe anyone's life but their own matters. Like, and I've believed that forever, because like even when they had these things circulate where they're like, well, how come Black Lives Matter isn't outraged by this? How come we haven't heard the media be outraged about this? Da 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 da. Aside from the fact that generally there was no outrage necessary for justice to be brought, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why the outrage wasn't there. The other thing kind of comes to where it's like, but they're not actually outraged about the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. Oh, this like when that police officer killed that white boy in that hotel room hallway. Do you remember which video I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, he pretty much like scares the shit out of him until he doesn't know what to do anymore. He gets confused out of fear and panic, and then he murders him for it, right? And there's like no real like national outcry for this, and it's just kind of like the notion that as a black person, the notion that I'm supposed to give more of a fuck about this white boy than you do, and I'm supposed to give the same energy behind that I give when you kill 12-year-old black boys for having fake guns and all of these other like instances that like they're predatory on my people. It's kind of like, it's not that I don't feel bad. I fucking told you so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel for that young man. I wish that would happen for him, but I tried to tell y'all that they do that.
Right. We all agreed that shouldn't happen. Like, that's the thing they don't understand. Like, we never said this was okay. Don't get me wrong. Like, what you're not understanding is, this is the irony in it is this. How you feel about that happening is how you should have felt when it happened over here. That's the point. That's the whole point. So you cannot get mad about this incident a week or 2 days or 1 day or 12 hours after it happened over here when you didn't get mad and say, see, why aren't y'all mad like us? That's what y'all been saying forever. Why aren't y'all mad like us?
You know what
like
I'm saying?
you're making the point for the other side without even realizing it, bro. Like, yes, this was unjustified. Yes, this was wrong. Yes, this drug-addicted black dude that shot this white boy for no reason. Nobody said they wanted that to happen. Nobody said they agreed that it should have happened. You're not even realizing that you're making our point for us. The point is, there is a racial divide. There is a social unjust lopsidedness. Yeah. There is a tension that shouldn't be there. And both sides are contributing. That's the point. However, what you're not recognizing is when it happens over here, you don't care. You get mad at everybody else for caring. Then when it happens over here, you care and you're like, why y'all don't care?
I mean, and even it's just kind of like, so I feel like even to the point of like there being like a contribution, like, it's difficult for me to even really explain this concept really, because I'm not saying that like black and brown people have nothing to do with the racial divide in America. But what I am saying is that like none of what you see from these groups is like, it's all reactionary. You know what I'm saying? Like none of it is like planned out. Like all the black people and Mexican people didn't come together and be like, we're gonna stop trusting the white people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a reaction to how things have been
Statistically.
systemically.
Oh, systemically.
Systemically. Or both. You know what I'm saying?
Systemically and statistically, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But it's a reaction to lived experience. You know what I'm saying? Like there have been instances, like just to give you like a real life perspective, like there have been instances where I have trusted the statements of white people versus my own inclinations about a situation and come to be proven correct. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give you a perfect example about that, bruh. Do you remember Moms? The Moms. That country ass bar, like out, it's like by Frederick or some shit. And they'll let like anybody in that motherfucker. You can be 12 and they'll let you in that bitch.
You not from the Bodunks, Oklahoma if you never been to Moms. And if you real, you only went once.
Real nigga shit. If you ain't never been to Moms, you ain't even from the L. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't have no friends. Or you might have just been black and hood. All the niggas who fucking with me, you know what I'm saying? Y'all like, what is Moms? It's good that you don't know. But look, I don't even have to explain to you if you can see what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like the people who I'm kicking it with, right? And genuinely, bro, like I don't feel like none of them was like, we gonna take this nigga somewhere, he gonna be hella uncomfortable and the people gonna be looking at him crazy the whole time and it's a motherfucking noose hanging up inside the building and all this other shit because we think it's gonna be funny. I feel like they thought all of these things are small, they're benign, it's really all cool, it's all love, he'll be fine, we'll all have a good time. We want him to come because he's our friend. But like those small things that happen to you as you growing up in like your formative years, like they make you a little bit like you think different, you see things different. So like, I mean, as somebody who like, bro, like you, Brittany, Austin, like I have like it's not like I have a white friend. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from Oklahoma. A lot of my very good friends are white. You know what I'm saying? I would have had to not talk to anyone from a lot of my very good friends to not be white. You know what I'm saying? I still don't trust white people I don't know like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta like if you white and I don't know you, like I'm not even sure that you're not like actively working towards my oppression yet. You know
right. So answer this question for me. You mentioned you don't trust white people you don't know like that. Is there a certain, how much of you to this point now, because we've been knowing each other 10 plus years, 10, 12 years now, maybe even close to 15. How much of
closer to 15.
If you had met us all today, how long would it take / what would have to happen for you to be able to trust?
That's an interesting question. So I could put it to you the way that it really occurs to me, right?
Well, the reason I ask is because you trust us now because it's been 15 years. And you've had us around when you were a more impressionable adolescent.
Yeah.
With fewer experiences. I don't mean no experiences, but fewer experiences. And the climate of the country was much milder back then. Much milder. Obviously not perfect, but much milder. And, you know, I feel like there's a degree of we're grandfathered in.
I mean, so that's interesting because I never thought about it that way. What I will say is this. I mean, you know me, you know what I'm saying? I'm a real interactive person. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even just like I'm not just friendly. Like when I get around people, and it took me a while to realize this because I kind of, and not to sidetrack it too much. I'll bring it back fast. One of the things I used to wonder, like, why do people like being around me so much? You know what I'm saying? But then I kind of start just paying attention a little bit more to other people's reactions or interactions with people. And it's because I engage with them. You know what I'm saying? When I speak to someone and I ask them how they doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm asking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just saying that. I want to know. You know what I'm saying? And when you tell me, I'm gonna say some shit back to you that's relevant to what you said to me, and it's clear that like I really took in what you said. I feel like people feel that on me, and it makes people want to be around me. I don't close that off to white people. You know what I'm saying? Like that is open to everyone. I am just paying attention to what you do when you speak to me and when you speak to other people and when you think I'm not listening. You know what I'm saying? It is less a distrust as it is just a cautiousness, because I just need to feel you out. I mean, and to a degree, bro, I think everyone kind of has that, even without all of this other bullshit that we have that's kind of unique to America. You know what I'm saying? Like people who look like you, people who come from where you come from, you know what I'm saying? Like you're more likely to latch onto them because you feel like there's less guesswork. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I will just say that I'm just really kind of watching. It's not, I don't just extend my because bro, my friendship and my trust comes with so much. You know what I'm saying? Like I really give to and do for people who I consider my friends, my family, people, my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? So just knowing how things are, it's just kind of like I need to see where your values lie before I could really extend my trust to you. And I don't feel like that's really that different in my interactions with black people or white people or anything, because I do require that now, just because like I've gotten older and I just require more to get that much from me.
Might take longer to get it from white people, to be honest.
Yeah, because
you're talking about now, you're talking about people who are not necessarily playing a part, but I mean, let's just talk about, just for a second, let's just touch on the white privilege aspect of it. You know, like you and I get in a situation. Let's just say I'm just not solid and you just met me and you don't know that I'm not solid because this is the first time we got in a situation. And whatever that situation may be, just use your imagination. I'm able to back out of that situation because I can. Whatever that situation is. Like I'm able to turn off my involvement in whatever situation it is, and you're not. And It may have taken you 6 months, 5 years to realize that, but not that anyone's consciously playing a part or consciously faking anything with you, but sometimes it takes a situation at any degree for someone to show you just how solid they are.
You really put it, you gave me the situation that's going to be able to really give me the chance to put this in the words. What it is that I know as a black man that my blackness has inconvenienced me more times than I could tell you. And I'm not sure that when I'm with you and my blackness becomes an inconvenience to us both, that you're going to be cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you going to look at me like, bro, like, I wish I could think of a situation more clearly, but I know I have been in situations where it's like it turned into a problem because I was there and I think I was the only one. Whataburger, bro. We was at Whataburger, me, a bunch of white boys I was kicking with tough, you know what I'm saying? Like, they all got good hearts, but like, I mean, even some of them, like, I be looking at their Facebooks now, they be on that Trump supporter shit or whatever, and it just, that's what made me question like the situation before. But anyway, we're sitting in there, it's late, you know what I'm saying? I'm 19, 20, you know what I'm saying? And one of them who's with us is like 16, 15, 16, something like shit like that or whatever. He's one of their little friends. I know him, but he's not really even my friend. Another one of them comes back in and steals all the Whataburger t-shirts off the counter and runs out. Because we ain't have shit to do with that. We just laughing like, what the fuck ever. We eating our food. They call the police come or whatever. And because none of us know his name and who he is, they end up giving us all these fucking tickets for contributing to the delinquency of a minor because we was there with the young little white boy or whatever, right? But when I tell you that they didn't question nobody but me, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if I wouldn't have been there, I can't help but think they wouldn't even have gave them no tickets. They would have just let them go the fuck home. And in that moment, nobody really saw what was going on but me. And it's like an isolating feeling that you don't want to feel around people who you consider your friends.
Right. I think one of my responses to that is, you said, I can't help but think they wouldn't have given anybody a ticket if I wasn't here. That may or may not be true. It very well may not be true. However, the fact that you are conditioned to consider that is an issue. And it's not like you brought this out of the sky. Experience teaches you that that's a probability.
Yeah.
That's what the issue is. That's what people don't understand is, I was thinking of something else. We'll get back to it in a second. We, as white people, have to stop assuming that the race card is being pulled in all these situations. Because not everyone is just panicking and pulling a race card because they like to cause problems. Some people are. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, there's always going to be that.
But not all the time. Like, at some point, there was a Cat Williams stand-up back in the day. I don't remember the exact thing that they said. It might have even been the Pimp Chronicles, the one that was famous. Everybody knew every single word to it. The one with the green suede jacket or the with the jeans on.
Plum and red.
Yeah, right. This is unleaded? Spicy. He said something like, don't nobody say the same thing about you and it not be true. Don't everybody say the same thing about you and it not be true.
Yeah.
That has rung true with me for most of my adult life. It's like if one person says it, I might brush it off as rumor or cap or lies or whatever. Two people say it and they're closely knit and they're together, I might say, well, they just hate, whatever. If I got 20 people coming to me to telling me the same thing that they've seen with their own eyes, I should probably try to listen. It's just totally naive, totally ignorant, totally neglectful of me to just brush that off as hate or somebody's bugging or, somebody's just pulling a card. No, like if enough people say this is happening, just because it doesn't affect me directly doesn't mean I shouldn't pay attention to it if there's an injustice involved. And this, going back to what I was going to say a second ago, we talked about this before we turned the cameras on. Let me be very clear about something. In many facets of life, there exists what I refer to as the 20-60-20 rule. I actually learned it when I was in finance at a dealership here in Lawton. 20% of these people, I'm not going to be able to sell anything to. They're just not. No matter what I say to them, they're not going to buy it, period. I could speak to them with all the logic in the world. I could talk to them with reason and eloquence, and we all know I'm capable of persuading people to do something because I make sense and I can make it sound good, right?
Yeah.
But 20% of those people just aren't going to buy it. There's nothing I can do about it.
No matter what.
No matter what. On the other side, there's 20% of people who I could just put it in front of them and say, sign this, and they'll do it. They just will. They'll buy it, and I don't even have to try. Where I'm going to make all of my cash, where I'm going to make all of my commission, where I'm going to make a living is that middle 60%. The people who could be on anywhere on the spectrum of that 60. They may be a little tougher. They may be pretty easy, but it takes a little influencing. Like you're going to have to do a little work for everybody inside that 60, but everybody's swayable if you're good enough.
Yeah.
Not only in sales is that true, but it's true in really a lot of situations in life, including this one. We got 20% of these people who will not be swayed. We got 20% of these people who are easily swayed, regardless of what you say, and regardless of which end you're on. You know what I'm talking about. Like, there's a clear line drawn in the sand right now in this country. Clear. It's big, it's bold, it's thick, it's 2 feet tall, sticking out of the sand. It's made of brick, too. It's right there. It's clear. A clear line in the sand. There is no standing on it. It's too tall. Let's call it 20 feet. You can't stand on the wall. You can't be on the fence. You have to choose a side. Now, whether you're in the middle knocking on it or like trying to understand, or whether you're way over here, like I don't even care about that wall, I'm back here, there's a clear line. And what I mean by that is there's no room for I kind of can see a bowl, so I'm just not going to decide. I'm just going to sit on the wall. No, we need to know which side you're on. And we appreciate you for standing as close as you can, knocking on it, trying to understand. But if you really wanted to understand, you could hop on the other side of the wall and then kind of hug the wall still. You know what I mean? If it makes sense.
I feel like what you're saying is that. Go ahead.
Let me get this out. What we need to do is concentrate on that 60% in the middle. That 60% in the middle are the only population that are going to be able to tear that wall down so that everyone can cross the border again and start hugging each other. There is a line, and we all are on one side or the other right now. And the people on the 20% ends can't bust through the crowd to get to it, and they don't want to. It's up to us in the 60% to start listening for the sounds over the wall, start being quiet and paying attention and trying to understand, and then eventually we can say, man, I really get it now. Let's beat this wall down and let's hug again. And it takes more of these types of conversations. We're agreeing on a lot right now, but I guarantee if y'all continue to stay tuned, there will be instances where we don't agree. I tend to, and this is going to be something we don't agree on. I know it 100%. I tend to lean toward the notion that some All Lives Matter protesters actually have good intentions. From the standpoint that they really do want the divide to diffuse, and they do want people to understand that all lives matter. What you don't understand, though, all lives matter people, is that's exactly what Black Lives Matter people are saying, for the most part. They're saying, we already know y'all matter. We know, we agree with that. What we're trying to let y'all know is you don't agree that we do. So we want to let you know that we do. I don't believe that all lives matter protesters or all lives matter supporters are all protesting it and claiming it maliciously. There are some. There are a lot. But I don't believe they're all that way. Just like the same thing with Black Lives Matter. They're the 20-60-20 rule. There are radicals on each side of everything. Most of the people in the middle generally have good intentions. I feel like. Maybe I'm just naive. I don't know.
Nah. I mean, we only disagree in the sense that I think I'm just, my bad. We only disagree in the sense of like, hold on. We only really disagree in the sense that it's not that I don't think that there's good people or people who don't have malicious intention who say shit, but like I'm just kind of at the point where it's like intent and impact are two different things, and like impact is the only thing that I give a fuck about at this point because bruh, like and like I'm not even gonna like this would be for a different time, but like there was like a moment about a year or so ago where I really just like sat down and parsed through like all the different instances in my life where like all the different instances in my life that are currently still affecting me today that I don't feel like would have went that way if I didn't look the way I look. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's things, I mean like just to give like a little brief thing or whatever, like bro, like I got arrested for 17 grams of weed. Like I had a handful of weed. Like now that marijuana is legal medicinally, which pretty much means anybody with Wi-Fi can get the shit in Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody should be well aware with how much that is. That's about this much weed.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know it was that light. I thought it was quite a bit.
No, bro. I only had 17 grams of weed when I got arrested. After that, I went through like this ridiculously rigorous treatment program / probationary shit. This is drug court, but like if you list out all the rules that's in it, like it's a lot, bro. Like you got curfews, you gotta be like, it's like lots of your time that they take up to make. It's like point is like I more than paid my debt to fucking society if there was even a debt to pay. You understand what I'm saying? For all of that to go down. You know what I'm saying? And when we tried to get a crib a few months ago, when they run my background check, that shit still comes up. Even though I paid all this money and went through all this stuff for that to be dismissed. I'm not a felon. I don't have a felon on my record. the case was dismissed, but the arrest is still there.
Right. Plus, it had to be 7-8 years ago now, right?
It was 6 years ago. It was July 2020. It was July 2014. Because I had just came back from here. I was visiting Houston before I moved here. And, like, that shit still impacts me. And there's other shit that still impacts me, like, that I can, like, just go to and just be like, I seen people who I just, like, it was a moment when I was, like, going through all of my pretrial shit. And I didn't even know what I was going to do. And this lady in Oklahoma got sentenced because they found her baby dead in the crib, and the baby had been in the crib so long that the baby was stuck to the mattress, and they gave her 5 years. And at that point, they had not offered me drug court. They still wanted me to tell on people, and I was so adamant that I wasn't talking to nobody about shit that they was offering me 5 years in and 7 years out. Like, as if, like, me and this woman are, like, contemporaries. Like, we did, like, a similar ill.
12 years on paper.
Yeah, so it's just like, when I hear all lives matter, like, I understand that what some people mean by it and what they really want. But, like, fuck that shit. Because all lives matter, and these little halfway justifications for the mistreatment and marginalization of entire groups of people is the reason why I'm still dealing with shit, and why motherfuckers look at me and why I'm scared to even address these things publicly, because then people's response is, you lazy, you don't work hard enough, you don't do this, not realizing I spend 50 hours a week at my job, another 20 hours a week doing school. I take my daughter everywhere she needs to go. I do you know what I'm saying? Like, I cook all the meals in my house, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm a monster on the 2K. You feel me?
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Bandy Man 4536, come get your ass whooping.
They don't have no idea how much time is invested in being the smoke show in the 2K, bro.
Bruh. And I'm all of them things. So yeah, like, I understand, like, it's a slight disagreement, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a disagreement, but it's just a lack of sympathy. I feel like you still have, like, this place in your heart that feels like we need to reach out to these people and bring them into the fold. And my attitude towards them is kind of like, if you in my way, you might get knocked the fuck over. So you need to figure out which way is right real fast. You know what I'm saying? Because it's freight train coming.
Well, I mean, so the thing I have an issue with is, you touched on it a minute ago, it's the difference between intent and impact.
Yeah.
Regardless of your intent, and this is going to be a twofold, kind of a double-sided response, but regardless of your intent, at this point in the climate of this nation, you got to know what your impact is going to be. You're not all blind and deaf and stupid enough to not know how what you're saying impacts. And it's the same for both sides. I mean, like we talked about, there are radicals on both sides of everything. There are Black Lives Matter radicals who are acting maliciously, who are, acting militantly, who are, harming the other side's perception of the cause. On the other side is the same thing. What you're seeing happen is, back to the 20-60-20 rule. This is the point I was trying to make with that. Your radicals, if given too much airtime for the wrong message, will damage our ability to create an understanding in the 60.
Like the actions of the 20 can shrink that 60.
Absolutely. Because regardless of whether this middle is 60, there's still a wall in the middle. You can, and you will see, and we are seeing, the 230s on either side of that wall that equal that 60. When something happens from the other's 20, if you're following me, that 30 will back off. And they'll get further away from an understanding in the middle.
Like they pulling people from the edges.
Exactly. Because this side of this wall, that's part of the impactable and persuadable, when they see the radical 20 over here acting wild, they're going to say, oh, see, I knew we got too close. See, y'all proving us wrong now. Like, you almost had us, but then y'all started acting out. Like, I have mixed emotions about the rioting. You know what I mean? I understand it's about acting out against the system. Your enemy is the system. So let's attack the system. I understand that. What I don't understand is we're not just attacking the system. We're burning down our own small town neighborhood, small businesses, which is affecting our economy, which is allowing the system to further oppress us because now our economy is in the trash can. So I understand how the radical of either side can affect the middle 60. The middle 60 is where we make the money. It's where we make progress. It's where we come to an understanding once we're able to beat down that wall. And I didn't create the wall. I wish it wasn't there. I wish it was easy for everybody to come to an understanding. But over the past, especially the past year or two, but over the past 7 or 8 or 10 years now, that wall's been building and building and building and building. There's a clear wall in the middle, and there are people clearly on both sides of it. And the radicals, the 20 on either side, when they start acting irrationally, they're harming their own causes. And it's just pushing that 60 further apart from one another.
So I guess what the question I have for you is like kind of it's a statement, it's a question, it's 2 parts. You know what I'm saying? It's you know how I get down. You know what I'm saying? It's everything. But like, so first of all, I feel like to a degree we've got to recognize the difference in radical action and radical policy. Because whereas I can understand to a degree, you know what I'm saying, the concern with actual like riots and like property damaging events, right? You know what I'm saying? Another part of me feels like a lack of action as far as policy is concerned is the reason why we see that.
Right. The lack of policy?
The lack of action we see as far as like, so like the notion of like radicalism, right? Like I'm all down for saying that like you should protest without pulling in the protest and shooting at each other, right? But to me, the difference between burning down a Wendy's and going to a protest with your rifle and shooting at the protesters, it's like the context of what's happening even in those radical sectors is so different as far as how it impacts society as a whole and the safety of others. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even to kind of expound upon that a little bit more, the notion of property damage within civil unrest is kind of like, in a capitalist society, the only really real way to make impact is to take financial, is to inflict economic damage. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of, and also, we don't own shit in our own communities, bro. It's not like when you go somewhere and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like the argument gets made. And I guess I said I was going to ask you a question and I didn't, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the argument gets made that we're destroying our own communities and we're destroying our own businesses and all this other stuff. And I'm not saying that nobody black owns shit in the hood, because that's obviously a misnomer. But when you go to the hood and you go to the corner store and you go to all these different places, like, we don't own that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's not a connection to the community in the way that there should be, because all the things that are owned by someone small isn't necessarily owned by someone from the community or somebody local. And the lack of incentives that drive that kind of thing are like what lead to those like snowballing effects that bring us to where we are now. Like the way to address like people aren't rioting in the streets because they want to burn the Wendy's down. They riot in the streets because they want the cops who killed Breonna Taylor arrested. So it's like, how about instead of castigate and blame. And I'm not even putting this on you as an individual. I'm saying kind of just like as a notion as a whole. Instead of castigate and blame on how those riots look, how those protests, those even when they become so like filled with emotion where people feel like fuck all this shit around me, like that's an emotion that all of us have felt before. Like, bro, like all my white friends, you white, you punched a hole in a wall before, right?
I did what?
You punched a hole in a wall before, right?
Nah, my name ain't Kyle or Chad, man.
Oh man, listen, most of y'all do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to castigate you as a Kyle. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that feeling.
You just racially profiled me.
I did, bro. I stereotyped the fuck out of you. But you get what I'm saying, bro?
I don't punch walls, man. I understand your point, though.
But you been so mad that you was like, I'll do anything. I don't give a. Yeah, broken a phone, or you know what I'm saying. Like, so the notion that after years and years of oppression and all this bullshit that we could get to a point where we're like, fuck it, we'll burn this whole shit down. It's like, bruh, do me right then.
Yeah, and see, I struggle with. I feel like I'm a very objective person.
You just feel like it doesn't work.
Do what?
I said you just feel like it doesn't work.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I feel like I'm a very objective person from the standpoint that obviously I feel like I'm pretty decent at seeing both sides of everything. Now, when I'm mad, I see red like a lot of people do. Like when I'm mad, I go off deep end on one side. And then the smoke clears and I'm able to say, well, I mean, I could see this and that. I could see this and that over here too. So I will have a double-sided response to most everything. My double-sided response to rioting is this. I do believe that destruction cannot be construction.
Okay.
The definitions of both are that. Are we going to be able to come to a constructive solution by destructing our own city? I mean, there is a case to be made that that's not going to happen because of what we just talked about. The radicals, whether or not you and I believe it's radical, we'll get to that in a second. What you're doing, though, when you act in a destructive manner, is you're giving the other side a case for, see, you went too far. Now we can't get with you. Now we don't understand. The other radicals on the other side are like, you're proving our point for us now. You're acting like exactly who we knew you were the whole time. They're wrong. Don't get me mixed up. They're wrong.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're solidifying what they've already constructed as a belief of who you are.
You saying like you got to battle the narrative.
Right. So I'm torn between, man, you're hurting your own cause because you want these people on the other side of the wall to believe that you're a peaceful people, that you aren't the enemy. Because don't get it twisted. These are battle lines drawn in the sand. These aren't, I'm at the school dance and I'm going to stand on this wall and you stand on that wall. No, these are war lines drawn in the sand. These are battle lines. You know what I mean? So what you're doing is you're convincing the enemy that they're on the right side of the lines because you're showing them that they're right about you. Let me just give you an example. I spent a few years in the Guard, close to 10 years, a little over 10 years in the National Guard. Wasn't ever active duty, so I can't really claim to know everything about how the military works. But one thing I did learn, and we didn't have a super, super tough deployment or anything like that, but one thing I did learn just from, my time researching and my little bit of time spent there and my time hearing stories is, there's a reason that our enemy in the war on terror never surrendered. It's not because it was close. You know what I mean? The war wasn't close. And it's still, to a degree, it's still going on a little bit. You know what I mean? But I mean, the war was never a nail biter, to speak. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And honestly, we've seen wars in the past that, when someone's getting their butt kicked so bad, they just give up. They wave the white flag and they're like, all right, you got it. We're cool. Even Hitler's army was dominant. for most of World War II. And he eventually started getting his butt kicked, and he said, all right, I give up. You know what I mean? Obviously, he killed himself, but you know what I mean. Same thing.
Maybe.
Same thing happened in the Civil War, man. I mean, wars all over the place. People surrender. The reason that, Al Qaeda, the Taliban, whoever the the enemy is or has been, the reason they don't give up is because they truly believe that they're on the right side of things. It's not that they're bad and they want to wreak havoc on the good. They truly believe. Put yourself in their shoes. They are born and bred and, grown and manifested to believe that they are good. We are bad. We are the devil. We're infidels to them. They don't believe they're carrying out evil. They're born and bred to believe they're doing the work of Allah. When you're the one who's good, why would you give up? You know what I mean? There's a reason they haven't given up. If they thought they were bad and they were just getting smoked, they would have gave up a long time ago. We are the ones that are the devil to them. So, that's the reason. They've been at war since the beginning of time with each other, with everybody else. Like, they're truly of the mindset that they are right.
That means a lot.
That concept is what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with two sides of America who know they're bad and are fighting the good. There are people like that. There are people in all walks of life in every country in America, serial killers, career criminals, whatever. They know they're bad. They know they're evil. They do it anyway because that's who they are. That's not what we're dealing with here, though. We're not dealing with two sides of knowingly bad people who are fighting the good because they love anarchy. The reason this war is never ending, the reason it's so difficult for people who are objective is you have to agree and you have to believe to a certain standpoint, to a certain extreme, that both sides are so passionate because they truly believe they're doing what's right. See what I mean? Like, when you consider that, it gives you a little more empathy for the other side. Obviously, I'm speaking as a white man. We'll probably disagree on this.
No, that's a point I had never really considered. It's a solid point.
You're not dealing with an all lives matter group of people who are being evil just for the sake of being evil. Your perception is, okay, they're the ops then. You believe that, you the ops. Don't get me wrong, they still the ops. But they're not doing it because they love the anarchy. Not all of them. We're talking about the middle 60 right now.
Always.
You know what I mean? So when you consider that, it kind of forces you to look at things objectively. They're not maliciously hateful. They just don't get it because they're born and bred a certain way. See what I mean? And it's the same thing with this side.
I do. No, I really do.
It's just what it is. Like, and it's unfortunate. And this isn't like an epiphany or a realization that comes with a happy ending. This is an unfortunate thing because when you have a war like this, it never ends. Nobody ever surrenders.
It doesn't, because and even it kind of speaks to what you said, because one of the things I was going to even point out is you said something like it proves the point that, like, you know what I'm saying, that's really what these people are like. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really are violent. They really are. They want anarchy. They want all this or whatever. And it's like, it kind of lends itself to my point of why I'm almost with the shit, because it's like, bro, like, I've almost come to a point where it's like, before I let my daughter come up the way I came up, you'll have to fucking kill me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want you to think that I'm beyond the point of, and this is something that You know what I'm saying? We can expound upon this later. A lot of this stuff we'll have to table for later. But like I spend so much time de-arming or trying to disarm myself to other people before they meet me. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to make myself seem more palatable for others that like the notion of doing that. I'm just like done with that shit because it's never served me in the way that I thought it would. And it's like I can't give that energy to my child and I can't put that energy in the world no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the reason why I'm going to burn this motherfucker down is because I'm trying to tell you, if you not willing to do right by me and mine, I will burn all this shit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not... I understand your position on it where it's like, possibly that's not as effective as it should be. But then on the other hand, it's like, but that's what it is, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is, though.
Because being nice and smiling with a picket sign on the street ain't working no more.
It's never worked for me. It's never worked for us, bro. Like, we did so many different things over the course of history, recent history, ancient history. I mean, but like, bro, like, really, it ain't even no ancient history in America. Like, bro, like, motherfuckers think that the civil rights movement was 400 years ago, bruh. You know what I'm saying? It's 2020. The voting rights bill passed in 65, bro. This shit is only 55 years old, bruh. My grandma went to a colors-only school.
Exactly. Yeah. In the grand scheme of time, this was last week.
Last week, bro. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? And we can kind of end it to a degree on this or whatever. Like, it's not that I don't see the argument or even or even that I don't understand. Like, I get that watching people burn down a city they live in can give the notion that, see, they really don't give a fuck about anything. But the truth is, they don't have anything left to give a fuck about. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like, when you allow people to get to that point, then you have to really ask yourself, the question is there a mechanism within the society that I want to live in that can neutralize that threat without harming innocent people? And the answer is no. So regardless to whether you are a Republican or Democrat or where you stand or how you feel about riots or looting or any of that shit, the real thing you've got to take into consideration is, if we continue to put people in a position that they would rather die in front of us than live how they've been living now, we will either have to kill them all or watch them all die, but it's not going to be what we've been in. And we not going out like that, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, nobody want to live in. I don't want to live in that, bro. I don't want to live in a world where I can't just send my kid to school. You know what I'm saying? And be like, oh, chill or whatever. But like little shit like Kyle Rittenhouse going and killing protesters. I'm so glad. And bro, listen, all the prayers and sympathy in the world to the people who passed in that moment's lives. I'm so glad none of them were black. If he had killed a black person and the next day Tucker Carlson is on Fox News calling this motherfucker a hero and Ann Coulter is tweeting that she wants him for president.
No, I feel you.
And we're so close to that moment that I'm like, regardless of what side you on, what you don't want to see is the place that you want to live and raise your family and prosper and grow and innovate and just take to the next level. You don't want to see that place become a war zone. And that's my fear. That's my biggest fear. That's my biggest thing, because it's just like, I know that as a black man who, man, like, I live in the suburbs, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm recording to you live from my extra room. This is not my bed. This is the study of my home.
You got an extra room? Let's get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I live well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not struggling. I'm not living in poverty. I'm not wondering where my meals are coming from. Like, I'm not operating from this position of desperation that some people are, but I can still see where this shit could lead. And that's not what I want. I didn't get this house for somebody to burn down. I want to live in the suburbs too.
Right, I agree. And that brings me to a point that I think is a good point to make on episode 1 of Common Conscience. By the way, follow all the social media in the description for sure. And hit that subscription and hit that bell gang notification. J-Rated TV. Also, FTS podcast. You know what it is. Dre, we can talk about that in a second.
At FTS podcast on Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
That brings me to a good point. We might as well talk about now. Just get it out the way and make it clear. The fact that you're not struggling financially has nothing to do with my privilege or your oppression.
Facts.
Let's make that clear. You guys need to get that out of your mind today. White privilege isn't about financial status. Mm-mm. Oppression isn't about who struggled to put groceries in the house. It's about the long-standing systemic process of making a certain people work harder to be treated like everybody else. What about what I just said means money? Nothing. So get that out of your mind right now. My guy Dre isn't scraping dimes together to get some ramen noodles to feed his daughter.
I'm not.
That doesn't mean. Look at him. He's pointing. Look at him. He just finished the bottle. He ain't tripping.
Was this the Blizzard test?
Right. Yeah. Go ahead and get that through. You pay for all of those drops.
You did.
But that doesn't mean my guy isn't gonna have a bigger issue explaining himself out of a situation than I would in the same situation. And if you truly believe that that's not happening, I don't really know what to tell you at this point, man. I mean, these types of things are on high definition video footage, and y'all still find a way to justify them. So what you got to say to the people, man? Sign us out.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, we did our thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we brought it like we really wanted to. You know what I'm saying? We kind of gave a good perspective of what we wanted to get through. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that we don't agree on shit is the reason why we here. The fact that this conversation's to be had is the reason we here. The fact that Jason felt like motherfuckers deserve a chance, and I feel like motherfuckers is y'all really late to the party. You know what I'm saying? But that's really why we here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about putting it all together, you know what I'm saying? Like, putting this content together, giving it to y'all, you know what I'm saying? My nigga Kobe, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jacoby Ryan, you know what I'm saying? My nigga always tell me, you know what I'm saying? He don't tell me, he tell everybody really, but it's something that I got from him, you know what I'm saying? Is that you want to make sure anything you do provide value for other people. If it provides value, then it's worth building on, you know what I'm saying? So ultimately, that's all I hope from this. That's all I want to come from this, you know what I'm saying? I want to provide value. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with the whole shit. Man, follow the podcast. I got my own shit. You know what I'm saying? Twitter, @FuckThisShitPod. Facebook, FTS Podcast. That shit on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. We gonna put Common Conscience on motherfucking Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. You know what I'm saying? We be on YouTube. Jason, get these niggas to YouTube.
Yeah, man. All the YouTube, J-Rated TV, Common Conscience. You can find mad stuff on J-Rated TV, rated reviews. We're going to have a cooking show called The Throwdown, all of that, man. But right here, we're talking about Common Conscience. Show? Oh, it's going to be a cooking show. Every Sunday, we're going to film one, man. Me and the girl,
I'm coming along for a guest spot on the cooking show. I just want y'all niggas to know.
Oh, I need to let me get a couple episodes out for you. Come over and shut the show down, my guy. We know.
Hey, bro, listen. When I come through for my guest spot, I'm doing infused dinner. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get Alfredo sauce that'll get you hot in a motherfucker or something. Go ahead. But anyway, you were saying J-Rated TV on YouTube.
Yeah. What's there? Yo. My guy recreated the the chicken carbona or whatever it was called from Olive Garden.
The carbonara.
Carbonara, yeah. He recreated the chicken carbonara one night, and I was like, yo, this is almost identical, except it's a little better.
And I can make it get you loaded.
Yeah, facts. So, yeah, man, you can find all that on J-Rated TV, man. All we're really trying to do is just create consistent content for y'all, man. I feel like we got something to say, especially here on Common Conscience, man. I mean, this was a brainchild of just a couple of guys who, feel like we could provide some eloquent perspective. That's really all it is, man. I mean, we ain't here to pander each other, to patronize each other, none of that. I feel like we knew that we would agree on enough and bump heads on enough, but also be objective and eloquent enough to have a real conversation. Not just because we need to understand each other, because we do come from different walks of life and opposite ends of the track in a lot of senses of the words. But that I feel that it takes these types of public conversations for that middle 60 to gain perspective. You know, from my side of the wall, being the white side of the wall, who don't have the direct experience, the direct perspective needed to understand the other side of the wall. Frankly, let's be honest, it would take a white person who gets it, for the most part, to persuade y'all. And the opposite is true as well. I mean, you have to hear people who look like you understanding the other side of the wall, because you're just so turned off to the other side of the wall that you need somebody who says, look, man, you at least get me enough that you can listen. So let me tell you something about the other side of the wall. It ain't all that bad. That's what this show is about. It won't always be, hard-hitting racially motivated conversations, but this is the way of the world. The climate of the country is like this, and more often than not, it probably will be. But watch our show with the intent to learn something. Not that we have the textbook on all things life, but gain perspective, man. That's all it's about. I don't know everything my guy Dre has been through. I don't know his life. I can't know his life. I don't look like he does. And that's just the fact of the matter. I join these conversations to gain perspective. And I don't claim to know everything that he would say on these shows. I have these conversations. I had a conversation with him. It's been nearly 2 hours with him on this show, and I gained a lot of knowledge. I've known Dre for 15 years, and I gained a lot of things from him tonight. So join these shows, watch these shows with an open mind to gain perspective, because if you're part of that 60 that wants to break down that wall and learn to live in unity again, first of all, the first thing you got to stop is you got to stop booing when somebody tries to unite.
Yeah, don't boo. Don't boo, that's weak.
And if you hit that dislike, that's exactly what that is. So hit that like on this joint.
That dislike is some weak nigga shit.
So, man, Common Conscience, we got Dre, we got Jay Rader, Dre Day, Jay Rader. Mm-hmm. You know what it is. Follow FTS Podcast, follow Common Conscience, follow Jay Rader TV. Sign us out, Dre.
Hey, man, we out of this motherfucker, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We love y'all like you love us. You know what I'm saying? We hope you love us. We know you love us. You know what I'm saying? What do he say? I bet he don't hit. I hope he don't hit. You know what I'm saying? We love y'all, man. We out of this motherfucker, man. Y'all have yourself a good night. And I know Jason didn't tell y'all before, but the motherfuckers ain't gonna stop. The cuss and keep rolling, man. I'm sorry. Don't bring your kids.
Don't bring the kids. I mean, bring them because they need to learn too, but ain't no bleep on this one.
Maybe you should paraphrase.
All right, man. Till next time. Love you, boy.
All right, man. We out of here. Love you too, bro.
I don't know, bro. Hey, time out. Side note, I feel like we hit a good spot. We're going to cut this out, but I got to go pee, bro. So.
Well, I was about to say that we was at a point where we could shut it down.
Like yeah, we can shut it down. Let me go pee real quick though, and then we can sign off.
All right. Hey, Jason was gonna pee on himself, y'all. I don't know if Jason doing outtakes. You know what I'm saying, when he do the audio editing, but he a pissy ass boy. We couldn't hold it. We hour and 15 minutes into episode 1. I've been sipping, bro. I done killed a bottle of what am I sipping on? Alamos from Mendoza, Argentina, 2018. I mean, it's 100 years of family winemaking in this motherfucker. Let me just let y'all. I hope you can see that. Oh. I hope you can get the vibes. What we looking like? What's the percentiles on this hoe? Is it on the front? Where is that? Oh, hold on. Oh, that's a barcode. I don't know. I can't find it. Oh, 13.5. That's about regular for a Malbec. This should say that the Alamos wines are born in the vineyards of Mendoza, Argentina, at the foothills of the Andes Mountains. At the foothills. Hey, man, don't be fucking up my outtakes. I was going to read y'all the rest of the bottle. But
hey, go ahead, finish up.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna tell him that our wines thrive in the intense mountain sunlight and pure snow melt water of the Andes, and embody the richness of this rugged, remote region, cultivated by the Cantina family for over 100 years. Mendoza's vineyards are among the highest in the world. So I don't know how they're among the highest and also at the foothills. I feel like it might be some cap in they rap, but I do know that I smacked the bottle and it was available at the Circle K on Beach Nut in 1464 if you live in the Houston area.
And it seemed like it was mad good.
It was, bro. It's been real smooth.
Because you did smack it.